Hey guys, Colton Richardson, personal injury lawyer, and today we're going to see if artificial intelligence can replace your criminal defense lawyer. Let's jump right in. So this week, ChatGPT was released, and it's a artificial intelligence. It will respond to you with answers to questions, or if you say, write me a story, it'll write you a story. If you say, write me a script, it'll write you a script. So it's crazy. And so let's see if it can answer the criminal questions that we got today. So I've got some questions here, and I might pop in some more as I think of them. But the first one is, should I talk to the cops after being arrested? Should I talk to the cops after being arrested? Let's see what ChatGPT says. It is generally a good idea to speak with an attorney before speaking with the police. If you have been arrested, you have the right to remain silent and to have an attorney present during any questioning. Anything you say to the police can be used against you in court, so it is important to be careful what you say. It is best to let your attorney handle any communication with the police on your behalf. That's actually pretty good advice. That's what I would tell someone. If someone said, hey, should I talk to the cops? I'd say, I wouldn't. I would invoke your Fifth Amendment right, your right to remain silent, and talk to a lawyer before. And the lawyer will, if he thinks it's a good idea to talk to the officers, then you can go together, and you can stop it at any time. Usually it's not best to talk to officers. So that's actually a pretty good question, or pretty good answer. So so it talks about right to remain silent. So let's ask what the Fifth Amendment is. Fifth Amendment provides many important protections for individuals accused of crimes. It states that no person shall be compelled in any criminal case to be a witness against himself, which is commonly known as the right to remain silent. It also contains a due process clause, which guarantees that the government will not deprive a person of life, liberty, or property without fair legal proceedings. Additionally, the Fifth Amendment includes the double jeopardy clause, which prohibits a person from being tried again for the same crime after they have been acquitted or convicted. That's perfect. And one thing to know about this is it does not search the web. So it knows past things, but it doesn't know current events. It can't search the web. So that's pretty good recitation. Let's do another one. When do officers have to read your Miranda rights? Police officers are required to read a suspect their Miranda rights before conducting a custodial interrogation. Dang, that's pretty good. A custodial interrogation is when a person is taken into custody and questioned about a crime. The Miranda rights include the right to remain silent and the right to an attorney. These rights must be read to a suspect before the police can question them in order to ensure that their Fifth Amendment rights are protected. That is pretty darn good. And there's two things to it. As ChatGPT, we need to give them a name. Definitely not Siri. Custodial interrogation. Custodial is the first part, so they have to be under arrest. They have to be in custody. And the second part is interrogation. So they have to be asking them questions. So if you don't have one of those things, then the officers do not have to read you your Miranda rights, and they can still use it in court. So if they do not read you your Miranda rights and they question you while you're in custody, whatever you say, they can't use it against you in court. Now, if they do read you your Miranda rights while you're in custody and they ask you questions, then they can use those against you. So that's a good part. I honestly didn't know if they would get custodial interrogation, so I'm actually very impressed with that. So it doesn't say that they can't use it against you if they don't read you your Miranda rights. One other thing is, say you're arrested and the cops driving you to the jail and you say something, but they haven't read you your Miranda rights yet. They can still use that against you because custodial, yes. Interrogation, they're not asking you questions. You're just blurting out facts. So there are some situations where it's a little fishy, but if you don't have custodial interrogation, if you don't have those two parts, they can't use it against you if they didn't read you your Miranda rights. So can prosecutors, let's ask them a question off that. Can prosecutors use my statements against me? Yes, prosecutors can use a person's statement against them in court. It is important to remember that anything you say to the police can be used against you. This is one reason why it is generally a good idea to remain silent and let your attorney handle any communication. Your attorney can help protect your rights and ensure that your statements are not used against you in court. So they can't always use them, as we mentioned before, but that's good advice to let your attorney handle it. That's what I would do. That's what I'd advise someone to do. So that's a pretty good answer. Let's go off that. If I am innocent, do I need a lawyer? Another thing about this ChatGPT is it remembers the rest of the conversation, and so it can respond off of things. So it's big on dialogue as well. So it's going off of the conversation. If you are facing criminal charges, it is always a good idea to have a lawyer present with you, even if you are innocent. The criminal justice system can be complex and difficult to navigate, and a lawyer can help you understand the charges against you and protect your rights. A lawyer can also help you build a strong defense and provide you with the best possible chance of achieving a favorable outcome in your case. That is 100% right. Yep, that's what I would suggest. But what if I can't afford an attorney? Let's see. Dang. See, this is what I'm talking about. It plays off it. So it still knows that we're talking about criminal charges. It says, if you can't afford a lawyer, you have the right to request a court-appointed attorney. This means that the government will provide you with a lawyer at no cost to you. In order to request a court-appointed attorney, you'll need to fill out an application and provide information about your income and assets. The court will then determine whether you are eligible to receive court-appointed attorney based on your financial situation. That is 100%. In Oklahoma, it's called a pauper's affidavit that they have to fill out in order to get a public defender. So that is right on point. Let's ask another question. What if I don't like, or what's the difference between a misdemeanor and a felony? A misdemeanor and felony are both types of crimes, but they are distinguished from each other by severity of the offense. That's correct. Misdemeanors are less serious crime that are typically punishable by a fine or up to 1 year in jail. Examples of misdemeanors include minor theft, simple assault, and driving under the influence. Felonies that might be true. For the most part, let me keep going. Felonies, on the other hand, are more serious crimes that are punishable by imprisonment for more than 1 year. Examples of felonies include murder, rape, and aggravated assault. Felonies are typically considered more serious than misdemeanors and often punishable by longer prison sentences and larger fines. In general, the main difference between a misdemeanor and felony is the potential punishment for a crime. That is right. And they even got it. Misdemeanors are usually, not always, usually, so they even say typically, by a fine or up to 1 year in jail. Misdemeanors usually don't go over 1 year in jail. So it's minor. So also driving under the influence, at least in Oklahoma, like most states, your first conviction of driving under the influence is a misdemeanor. And here in Oklahoma, the second one is a felony, and every subsequent one. So anything after the first one, after your first DUI, is a felony. But yeah, that's correct. Felonies are more serious than misdemeanors, and misdemeanors are usually punishable by less than 1 year, and felonies more than 1 year. So that's pretty good. So going off of the DUI, how much does a DUI cost? Cost of a DUI can vary depending on a number of factors, including the state where the offense occurred, the severity of the offense, and the defendant's criminal history. In general, first-time DUI offense can cost several $1,000s in fines, court fines, and other expenses. That's correct. It's very expensive. This amount can increase if the defendant caused an accident or had a high blood alcohol level at the time of the offense. So many states have what's called aggravated DUI, which is where they usually set it. In Oklahoma, it's 0.25. If your blood alcohol content's above 0.25, you could have additional issues, fines, punishments. Additionally, a DUI conviction can result in higher insurance premiums and the loss of a driver's license, which can have significant financial consequences. That is true. It is important to consult with the law attorney if you have been charged with a DUI to understand the potential costs and consequences of a conviction. How much does a DUI attorney cost? The cost of a DUI attorney can vary depending on a number of factors, including attorney's experience and reputation, the complexity of the case, and the location where this offense occurred. In general, DUI attorneys charge an hourly rate for their services, which can range from $100 to $500 or more per hour. Some attorneys may also charge a flat fee, which can range from a few $1,000s to several $1,000s. Depending on several specifics of the case, it is important to shop around and get quotes from several attorneys before hiring one to represent you on a DUI. It's also a good idea to ask about the attorney's fees and payment policies during initial consultation to understand the potential costs and expenses involved. So yeah, I haven't heard of any DUI attorneys charging per hour. If they did, they would take like $5,000 or $10,000 retainer and bill against that retainer. Probably more like $200 at least on the low side, up to maybe $100, but probably not. Probably higher than that. But most attorneys handle on a flat fee. That's how I've done criminal defense. That's how the criminal defense lawyers I know charge. So that's interesting. So let's have some fun. Let's ask if a tree, this isn't legal related, but if a tree falls, does it make any noise? I don't know how the exact saying goes, but whether a tree makes noise when it falls depends on a number of factors. Oh, shoot, I messed it up. Gosh dang it. If a tree falls while no one is around, does it make any noise? There we go. According to the law of physics, a tree falling in the forest will create sound waves that travel through the air and can be detected by the human ear. However, if no one is present to hear the sound, it is difficult to say whether the tree makes any noise or not. This is because sound is a form of energy that requires a medium, such as air or water, to travel through in order to be detected by human ear. If there's no one present to hear the sound, the energy created by the falling tree will simply dissipate into the environment without being detected. So in a sense, the tree does make a noise, but is not heard by anyone. You heard it here first by ChatGPT. Very good. So let's ask, I think we've clarified and qualified ChatGPT. Can I hire you as my criminal defense lawyer? Let's see what she said. Or he. I don't even know who. They. I'm sorry, but I'm not a real person. You don't have the ability to practice law. I'm an AI language model trained by OpenAI, and I'm not qualified to provide legal advice or represent anyone in a court of law. My purpose is to provide general information and answer questions to the best of my knowledge, but I am not a substitute for a real lawyer. If you're facing criminal charges, it's important to seek the advice of a qualified attorney who can represent you. Can you find me one? Sad. They can't represent me. I'm sorry, but I'm not able to search or recommend a specific lawyer for you. I do not have access to information about specific lawyers or their qualifications. Additionally, it is important to remember that I am not a real person, do not have the ability to provide legal advice or representation. If you are in need of a criminal defense lawyer, I would recommend contacting your local bar association or searching online for lawyers who specialize in criminal defense in your area. You can then contact the lawyer or law firm directly to discuss their case. So, looks like ChatGPT is not going to be able to help us, artificial intelligence is not replacing criminal defense lawyers anytime soon. Let me know what you think is the future of artificial intelligence and how it's going to mix with law and especially criminal defense law. And if you enjoyed this video, watch this next one where I'll see if this artificial intelligence can replace a personal injury lawyer.